Emma Williams was the kind of woman who could go unnoticed in a crowded room, yet leave a lasting impression on those who took the time to see her. At 27, she worked as a librarian at the University of Cambridge, a place where ancient books whispered secrets to those who dared to listen. Emma preferred the quiet, the gentle rustle of paper, the soft click of computer keys, and the peace that came with solitude. Love, for her, had always been a distant concept. She read about it in Austen and Bronte, shelved romance novels filled with grand gestures and poetic confessions, but in her own life, it had never knocked on her door. Or perhaps it had, and she had never dared to answer. That changed one rainy morning in October. As Emma unlocked the heavy doors of the library, the wind pushed against her coat, and rain fell in cold sheets. She was about to step inside when she noticed a man standing at the entrance, soaked from head to toe, holding a leather suitcase, looking both frustrated and lost. "Can I help you?" she asked, stepping toward him with quiet curiosity. He looked up, blinking rain from his eyes. "I'm looking for Professor Jonathan Hayes," he said, his voice touched by an American accent. "I'm here for a research fellowship, but I think I've taken a wrong turn. Twice." Emma smiled faintly. "You've arrived at the right place, but at the wrong door. Professor Hayes is in the history department. Come in. You're drenched." She led him inside and handed him a towel from the lost and found box. That was how she met Adrian Carter, a 32-year-old historian from New York, who had come to Cambridge for a one-year research exchange. He had a disarming charm, not the kind that tried to impress, but the kind that invited you in and made you want to know more. At first, they were nothing more than colleagues. Emma helped Adrian navigate the library's vast archives, and he often lingered in the corners of her day. He asked questions about British history and literature, about tea rituals and weather, and occasionally, about her. "You always have your nose in a book," he said one day, leaning against the reading desk. "Don't you ever take a break?" "This is my break," she replied, not looking up. Over the weeks, a subtle rhythm developed between them. He brought her coffee. Too sweet, but thoughtful. She corrected his spelling. Color, not color. Favorite, not favorite. He made her laugh with silly impressions of British professors, and she, despite herself, began to look forward to their daily interactions. One afternoon, as they were working on cataloging a rare collection of wartime letters, Adrian glanced at her and said, "You ever think about what it would be like to live in a different era?" Emma considered it. Sometimes, but women didn't have much choice back then. "I don't know," he said. "You strike me as someone who would have made her own rules." Her heart skipped. No one had ever said anything like that to her. Winter approached, and with it the university's annual gala. Emma didn't plan to attend. She wasn't the type, but her supervisor insisted, and so she wore a deep blue gown she hadn't worn since graduation, tied her hair back, and tried not to overthink. When she walked into the hall, candlelit and filled with music, she saw Adrian across the room. His eyes widened when he saw her. "Emma," he breathed, "you look breathtaking." She blushed. "You clean up well, too." They danced under the golden chandeliers, surrounded by laughter and music, and for a moment, time slowed. Emma let herself feel what she had buried for months, the aching joy of being close to someone she could trust. But she was afraid. Adrian would return to New York in spring. She didn't know how to handle heartbreak. She had spent her whole life avoiding it. In February, Adrian caught a bad cold and had to stay home. Emma brought him soup and a stack of letters from the archive to keep him entertained. She found him curled up in his small flat, shivering under blankets. "I should have packed more jumpers," he said with a weak grin. She laughed softly. "I told you, British winters aren't for the faint-hearted." "Will you read to me?" he asked, eyes closing. She nodded and picked a letter at random. They were from a soldier to his lover during World War II. Desperate, beautiful, raw. As she read, something in her heart twisted. Then came the last letter, and she paused. "If I could rewrite time, I'd meet you sooner and love you longer. If you ever find this, know that I loved you before I even knew your name." She blinked. That line didn't sound like the rest. "Adrian, this last letter? Did you write this?" He looked up, silent. "I did," he said finally. "I slipped it in weeks ago. I didn't know if you'd ever read it." Emma's hands trembled slightly. "Why?" "Because I love you, Emma," he said. "And I couldn't keep pretending I didn't. I know I'm leaving soon, and maybe this is selfish, but I had to say it." She looked away. "I'm scared," she whispered. "You'll leave and I'll stay here. I don't know how to do this." "Then don't," he said. "Don't do it alone. Let me stay." She stared at him. "What?" "I got offered a permanent research position here," he explained. "I turned it down, until now. But if there's a reason to stay, a real one." Tears filled her eyes. "Stay," she said. "Please." And he did. Spring blossomed across Cambridge, and with it, their new beginning. They moved in together, a small cottage near the river, filled with books, morning tea, and late-night debates. Emma found herself laughing more. Adrian wrote articles, and she edited them, always with a red pen and too many comments. Life became rich, not in wealth, but in meaning. 2 years later, they married in the university garden where they first met, under ivy-covered walls and the quiet applause of close friends and colleagues. Emma wore the same blue gown, altered with lace. Adrian cried when he saw her. She often thought back to that version of herself, the quiet girl in the library who thought love was a myth. She smiled gently at the memory. Because now, she didn't just believe in love. She lived it every single day.